Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will be drying out and feeling the heat in the coming days with widespread shower and thunderstorm potential holding off until the weekend. A much drier week than what we have recently seen over the last 7 days. At least an inch has fallen in most of West Virginia. Any yellow would be 2 inches or more. And the oranges, 3 to locally 5 inches of rain. Worth noting, just Sunday to Monday, we saw some locally heavy rainfall near Summersville, extending from there toward Lewisburg. Charleston measuring 0.14 inches on Sunday. Month to date, close to 2.5 inches so far. Year to date, though, still behind average by over 5 inches, and that deficit will be growing. Any isolated storms from this afternoon fall apart this evening. Then we'll have clearing skies overnight, staying clear Tuesday. And as mentioned, more widespread dry conditions on the horizon. FlyStar forecast, it starts at home. Atlanta, a cooler and wetter start to the week, then trending warmer as rain chances gradually thin out. DC, 100 Wednesday. New York, a heat advisory in effect with some 90s and sunshine. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, fog is possible overnight in some areas like Moundsville. Low there of 68, then a high of 93 and sunny for Tuesday. Morgantown, 90. Looking east for some low to mid 60s with clear skies, then additional 90s. Martinsburg, 93. Moorfield, 93. Davis, 82. We'll see Elkins drop near 60 overnight, then a high of 80 as a cooler spot in Snowshoe, but low 90s abounding, pretty common. Parkersburg, Ripley, looking toward Clarksburg for that as well. Mid 60s for Charleston with 57 and fog toward Lewisburg, 84 there Tuesday, but 90 in Charleston. More 90s and sun on the horizon, then rain chances over the weekend.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Five, 3,
Red 57, Red 57, hot, hot.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. We welcome you into the CityNet Statewide Sportsline for Monday, July 13th, 2026. Glad you're with us in our Health Plan Studios. Brad and Greg with you this evening. Text line's open, 304-8255-304. We'll get into some of your texts coming up in the show. But first, welcome back to Coach Hunter. Coach Hunter, good evening. Welcome in.
Well, welcome to you. Feels odd. Neither of us have been here for a week.
We're back, ready to go, ready to roll, and you've got a nice new Steelers shirt on there, Coach Hunter.
Thank you.
Now,
Birthday present a few weeks ago.
That's very nice.
Yep.
I like that. Very
My
good.
younger nephew got this for me.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Looking good. Looking good.
You as well. We're both fresh off vacation.
Fresh, rested, ready to roll, and we got a lot to talk about, even though this is the area of the year, time of year when it's one of the slowest of the year. No Major League Baseball going on, but we do, you know what we do have? We do have NBA Summer League. So if I get distracted here, pardon me, but I've got one up on my screen on my iPad. I've got the other one up here. We've got Summer League underway. A couple West Virginia players already underway in today's game. One of them, Toby Oconee, for the Knicks, had a good couple of possessions in there that we'll get into here in just a bit. We'll talk about him. We've got baseball to get into as well. What a weekend for the Mountaineers. The year of the Mountaineer continues in the baseball world as guys were getting drafted and signed left and right, and also big news on a returnee that we'll get into a little bit. So baseball to talk about here in just a few minutes. We have basketball to get into as well on the men's side. We have a game time for the opener on the Players Era Tournament in Las Vegas. And if you don't know this, here's a little bit of a spoiler alert. We'll get into it in a minute. If you don't know this already, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you fans. I'm sorry is all I can say. We'll get into the details coming up here in just a little bit. We've got football to talk about. We'll dive into that here in just a few minutes as well. Recruiting continues. It never stops, as Coach Hunter likes to say. 2 more commitments come in for WVU over the weekend. Greg is standing by in the recruiting center. He'll get to those here in just a few minutes as well. Text line is open, as I mentioned, 304-8255-304. That's 304-TALK-304. We'd love to hear from you. Get into questions and comments here in just a little bit. Oh, I also forgot to tell you, Tony's going to join us. Tony coming up here in just a little bit. We'll talk to him about that basketball start time and all of this baseball news as well. So Tony Caridi coming up here in just a few minutes. Greg, let's start with that baseball news, because it has been, as we know, just a tremendous year, a really tremendous couple of years, and it continues with the talent from WVU entering the Major League Baseball draft, as there were multiple guys that were taken. Dawson Montesa was the first one off the board. The Cardinals, the West Virginia Cardinals, going into the Mountaineer program for yet another prospect. And we've talked so much about Dawson, had him on this show back around when was that? Was that the regional time? It was just after after the regional, right after he had that great performance in the regional, and talked about just his dynamic arm talent, as the scouts like to say, throwing upper 90s, and we saw him in big moments in particular at the end of the year really rise to the occasion. So Dawson getting a chance to go into the Cardinals organization. He was the 72nd pick. Max Yale, Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, 3rd round of the Kansas City Royals, 91st pick. Good to see Paul Schoenfeld get a crack here. 8th round, 236 overall. He goes to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then Ian Korn, another one of those guys coming up from the Division II level that just had an unbelievable year for the Mountaineers, goes in the 10th round to the Giants, 298th overall pick. So congratulations to all of those guys. And it set up a pretty good stat here, Greg. The Mountaineers have now had at least 4 players selected in the Major League Baseball draft for the last 3 years. So no surprise here. Coincides with being one of only 2 programs to make 3 straight super regionals. What do you need in order to do that? You need some great players. West Virginia has had those players as of late. It continues. Reese Bassinger also signing a deal with the Blue Jays. He'll join former Mountaineer Sam White in the Toronto organization, so good luck to Reese as he begins his journey. So a bunch of guys getting their crack here in the professional baseball ranks.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you and Tony talk about it all the time on the basketball side of things, and certainly we know about it in football, but it's true in all sports. I mean, if you're going to be elite at the college level, you need pros, right? Maybe not your whole roster full of
have
them,
guys, yep.
But the more you can have guys that are elite professionally, the better ultimately your program's going to be. And again, we'll see what happens. There's none of these that are guaranteed to be the next J.J. Weatherholt and be rookies that are fighting for Rookie of the Year candidacy in a couple of years. But you get a couple that are likely to be future Major League Baseball players.
Well, and listen, there's a route. How many guys have we seen that aren't the J.J. Weatherholts or the Alec Manoahs that we're taking high that find their way in? Michael Grove, we've talked about him recently. Victor Scott, we saw him earlier this spring, that found their ways. All they need is a shot, and then have worked their way up the ladder and found their way into the big show. So good luck to all of those guys. Continuing on the baseball theme, maybe the biggest news, as good of news as that was for the program and for those individual players, how about Armani Guzman announcing yesterday that he will be returning to the Mountaineers? Just a massive boost for the WVU program. I'll be honest, Greg, that surprised me. I thought, given the year that he had, not only just statistically, but you lead the Big 12 in stolen bases, you hit over 300, and then you do it in giant moments that show you can handle the stage. I thought Armani did everything you could possibly do to answer any question that may exist about his ability to play at the professional level. I wouldn't have been surprised in the least if he left. In fact, I thought that was the favorite. To see him return and come back to this program, what a boost that is, not only to Steve Sabins and the program, but to Mountaineer fans as well that get to watch him for another season.
Then you add in what he does defensively, all right?
Yeah,
multiple
the versatility.
positions.
Yes, that's right.
He was so good in so many ways, but I think it's pretty obvious he put word out that, I'd like to return, because it's someplace he could have been drafted if
No doubt.
somebody had
No doubt.
decided, you know what, we're going to take a run at a guy who's got all this ability. So he put word out he wanted to return to college. He comes back for his 4th year. In today's world, he doesn't have just one more year left, at least doesn't apparently. But we'll let that one play out as it will.
Take the one, Greg. Don't get greedy here with the extra, but take the one for Amani.
For right now, he comes back. Tyrus Hall, not drafted. So we'll see. Obviously, Gavin Kelly's just tearing up Team USA. If anybody's seen any highlights from him, I think he was 5 for 6 the other day.
That was the next thing I was going into. Is you start in a pretty good spot for next year with in the offensive side of things with Armani and Gavin Kelly returning. All Gavin is doing is lighting up the World Collegiate Baseball Classic. Game 1, Chinese Taipei. Gavin steps in the box. How about these numbers? 5 of 6, 4 RBI, 3 runs scored. Okay? That was one of the best in the history of Team USA at this event. How about this one? Ties a single-game hit record for that program. Is the first 5-hit outing since 2019 and just the 11th 5-hit performance in program history, meaning Team USA's program. I mean, historic first game for Gavin Kelly, and Team USA will be back at it tonight or really tomorrow morning for those of us on the East Coast. They play at 12:30 a.m. Eastern, first pitch against Japan. But yeah, Gavin has stepped right in among a bunch of stars. Hairston from Arizona State's on that team with him as well. He has stepped in with a bunch of stars, and he has been the star of stars through one game there. No surprise.
Get used to those late night games. If you're a Mountaineer fan, if we can find a stream of it, you'll have an opportunity to watch it. But yeah, so yeah, that's a couple nice pieces with Guzman and obviously Kelly to build around. Einich also back. Now we know Steve Saban's apparently has gone out and recruited really well from both the transfer portal and the freshman class.
Chance and Cole, right? Yep. You're starting your rotation there. So you've got some pieces back from this team that went to Omaha. But again, I think there's no doubt it starts from the offensive side, in particular with Armani and Gavin, and that announcement from Armani yesterday that he's returning, a big boost to the program. All right, break to take. When we come back, we'll get into football recruiting. 2 recent commits to Rich Rodriguez and company. Coach Hunter will get into those. Tony right around the corner on the basketball start time against Auburn in the Players Era tournament coming up in November in Las Vegas, and we'll keep you updated on what's happening Summer League-wise. All of that and your texts straight ahead on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps, and never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
At WVU Medicine's Heart and Vascular Institute, excellence isn't just a promise, it's proven. Our advanced heart surgery program ranks among the top 3% in the nation by the Society of Thoracic Surgeons and was named a high-performing hospital by U.S. News and World Report with multiple areas of distinction. In medicine, we lead with world-class outcomes and groundbreaking procedures. Visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
On the next State of Minds.
We cook West Virginian food is how we like to phrase it.
I knew that every time I would hear a story, and I would hear the same story, but it never got old, about what this meant to the family and how it was served and how special it was to be put on the table.
I love the state of West Virginia. I've met some of my best friends. I'm excited to be back. I still have my pickup truck. I still have four-wheel drive. One of the ladies asked me in the forum if I know how to drive in the snow. I told her, oh, yeah, I spent 5 years in Elkins.
See, that's one of those things. Now that you're coming to Fairmont, you've handled the Elkins winter.
Yeah,
this
if you can handle Randolph County.
I mean, you're moving. This is basically coming back to Florida here when you get to Fairmont. I mean, this is easy.
It's going to be a breeze.
Sportsline on MetroNews Television. Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, The High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
High-speed internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. Whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. All right, text line open 304-8255. 304, that's 304-TALK, 304. We'll get back into those here in just a minute, but got a text from our buddy Jack in Scott Depot. Says, how many D2 guys have been drafted to Major League Baseball that finished their career at WVU just over the last few years? Coach Hunter, you did a quick check on that because it's a lot. It feels like 1,000 of them. And we've talked about the hit rate for Steve Sabins and crew. It's a high percentage of those guys that have turned out to be really highly productive players, but you ended up with what that have been drafted? Six of them?
Six in the last 3 years, including 3 this year. Ian Korn, Dawson Montesa, and Ball Schoenfeld. All 3 were D2 players until transferring to West Virginia this past year, and now end up being drafted and making their way on. So that includes a list at Kyle West, a part of that, Derek Clark, part of that, Griffin Kern, and guys from the past also. So yeah, that's again, and we've talked to every time one of those guys comes on the show, that's an obvious question. Does the past, help in the recruiting aspect? And all have admitted yes, very much so. That's part of the spiel that West Virginia uses, and one has led to the other, and each has been really, really successful.
Yep, absolutely right. No question. All right, let's talk a little football right now. We have basketball news just ahead that we'll get into your text as well. But let's talk about the football commitments. They continue to roll in, Coach Hunter, as we thought they might a couple of weeks ago. They're still coming. 2 more over the weekend. What do we know?
Yeah, West Virginia ends up with a couple more players. While we were gone, Mountaineers most recently got Tristan Roberts from Mobile, Alabama. Must have been trained by Pat White's brother, because I saw a tweet from him with his arm around him and congratulating him on his commitment. So, of course, obviously, Pat and all of his family from the Mobile area, Daphne, right outside. And the younger brother is involved in training football players right now. And in Tristan Harden Roberts, the latest is big kid, 6'4", 300. Looks like an interior offensive lineman. Again, a mauler in that regard. 24th player and the 5th offensive lineman for West Virginia so far in the commitment range. So that is definitely a continuing need. West Virginia recruited hard on offensive linemen this past year and still is going hard. Then West Virginia, right before we left, picked up a wide receiver from Eastern PA from Blue Mountain High School, Chase Gowers, 6'2", 190-pound wide receiver, also a really good safety, so maybe call him a utility guy. I think West Virginia's looking at him as a wide receiver once he gets to the college level, but both those kids had good offer lists. the West Virginia looked like the best Power 4 that was on the list for either of them.
Okay, so they keep coming in.
Yeah.
Should we just expect it now every week throughout the year? Or are we going to slow at some point
No,
here?
it's going to slow. Once you get into July, it typically does slow because the camp periods and all those things that West Virginia had been hosting, those have now ended. Truthfully, coaches are on vacation. They work 362 days a year, so they get 3 days off. But this is a time when they're out. So a lot of the visits that have been going on, a lot of team camps, 7-on-7 camps, all those things that West Virginia have been hosting, those are over. And players are also doing what they do in the weeks leading up to their high school practices starting,
which is soon. We're down now, and that's amazing, right? Just a couple weeks, and we're going to be underway not only in high school but full camp go for West Virginia as well. While we were gone, also over the last week, I hope you all had a chance to listen to the latest Three Guys Before the Game episode. We had Ben Cutter on, linebacker, and we had talked about that the week before, Greg, when we left, and we talked about the depth in the linebacker room and some of the guys that you thought would see play. But Ben certainly was a wonderful interview. It was great to talk to him, and he, again, continues to be one of those rarities in college football nowadays that he's returning for his 4th year at WVU and actually now has a chance to play potentially a 5th year for the Mountaineers or somewhere else. Certainly hope it's here at WVU, but had a good time catching up with Ben Cutter and talking to him a little bit about the upcoming season.
Yeah, and then if there's anybody that's been more loyal than Ben Cutter to West Virginia, because think of all the coaching changes that he's been through, and has said time and time again how much he's enjoyed. And I mean, he's a kid from North Carolina, so he doesn't have the same West Virginia roots that have allowed him to stick here, but he's been very loyal. And I wouldn't be surprised if he plays the 5th year and does so here. But I said it before, when you think about that class that came in, and there were 19, I think, that were signed in that class. And again, this was Neil Brown's group. Only 3 of them remain. Nick Cray, Corey McIntyre, and Ben Cutter. Because Ben Cutter played as a true freshman, the other 2 redshirted, which,
now doesn't
a
exist.
word we won't use much after this, but because Ben played, he's now a 4th-year senior. The others are 4th-year juniors. But all 3 have 2 years left of eligibility according to current rules. But that just shows all the attrition that West Virginia has had.
That's out of how many?
Time.
Out of how many?
My count was 19.
Okay.
That they signed in that class. And again, that was, a time when you're allowed 85 scholarship players, and it was different sets of rules.
So 3 of 19 made it through the 4th year of their program. It's interesting, too. All 3 of those you expect to play big roles.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
Nick Cray will. He may end up being your best offensive lineman. Ben Cutter's been such a productive guy for 3 years. And then Corey McIntyre, a lot of talk about him coming out of the spring as he get ready to go into the fall.
Absolutely. He's the one who's had injury issues through his first couple of years, but really showed sort of the second half of last season, started to really come on, and throughout the spring has showed that he's going to be a major factor for this team. In some stead, maybe it's a rotational piece, but he'll play a lot in West Virginia's defensive front.
Well, for some reason you haven't got a chance, go back and check out Ben Cutter on Three Guys Before the Game. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts on the audio side of things. It's available on the MetroNews TV app or on YouTube if you'd like to go in and watch it. And again, really encourage you to do so. He was a fun interview and gave some nice name names, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Name names when we asked him specifically who has impressed him both on the offense and defensive side. So some good information in there from Ben Cutter. Text line open, 304-TALK-304. Here's one from Doug in Winfield. Says, what kind of money range would Armani be in line for after the season he just had? So that's a good question, Doug. I don't know the exact answer to that. I don't have a number. It's a nice payday. Baseball's still not in the range of basketball and even some of the high-end football guys in terms of, we've mentioned they have been behind financially and getting up to speed with, as we've mentioned many times, West Virginia now with scholarships for everybody, which was a rarity or is a rarity still across college baseball. So nice payday, but what does that mean? I don't have an answer for you on that.
No, and but you're right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, football is probably has an and this is before NIL, so we know that increases things a lot. But football is getting about $15 million for rev share, right? That's sort of our guesstimate of things. Baseball's nowhere close to that.
No.
In that, now they're doing fine, but yeah, it's not what football is and not what basketball is. And I did find it interesting. And Ren Baker, when I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, used the same line he did to you guys. If you'd told him on March 1st what the the roster number was going to be, and then what it ended up being on May 31st, just a few years later, you'd be astounded how much it increased.
There's no doubt, and I think you could say that specifically if you're talking about Armani Guzman. I think what his number was in February when you started talking to him was not what the number was when it came out of there. So congratulations to him. But in terms of exact number, I don't have that for you, but it was a nice payday for Armani, I'm sure, for him to return. Texter Gary in Vienna says, this is a long one. Says, good evening, gentlemen. Good to have everyone back in the studio. Here's a piece of baseball trivia for you. Ronald Reagan in 1934, at age 23, used to broadcast Chicago Cubs baseball games. While not at the game in person, he used the teletype machine to gather all the information he needed for the broadcast, including the weather. He even made up action at times when the teletype got stuck. Takes me back to the days of Tony and Jay during COVID, broadcasting those basketball games all alone from the studio. Gary from Vienna. Thank you, Gary. That was a weird time, no doubt. Texter asking about Ty Hall, if he's returning next year. Just mentions what a great year he had and how valuable he was. Certainly hope that he's back in that lineup anchoring third base there. Man, he was good last year, Greg. How often do we talk about his defense for a guy that didn't play third?
Yeah.
Guy that didn't play third.
But he was as good defensively as anybody you'll see. So I haven't heard anything that would lead me to believe that he won't, but I don't know if you know any different.
Texter, I'm disappointed with your colleagues. I don't know if he means specifically here at MetroNews. I think he means nationally. Predictions on West Virginia football team in the Big 12. This texter thinks they'll be much better. Yeah, I think the national predictions are a little low, too, in the win total category as well, if I were giving an opinion there.
Yeah,
I think they're down a little bit.
Good motivation. I'm sure Rich will put that up there on bulletin boards everywhere. And how often have we said it? Often seems West Virginia does much, much better when they're predicted low, and they use that as determination compared to when they actually are predicted high. This is
not the prediction show, nor am I turning it into. So this is not an official prediction, and I still have a month to gather my thoughts before I call you and Travis. I will be really surprised if this is not at the minimum a bowl eligible team. I don't know how this team, you got 4 wins last year. I don't know how this team doesn't get to 6, barring any catastrophic injuries like we saw last year when it just continued. I feel like I'm with the texture there. I'm surprised at some of the disappointing predictions by certain people nationally, especially given how much change is in this league.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, too. West Virginia's talent's clearly better, but okay, if you don't follow this program day in, day out, I can see where you might miss that a little bit. All right, fine. But the fact that this schedule has turned over with a first-year head coach in Colin Klein at K-State, with Iowa State. Iowa State's the one, to me, they have been in such a stable position for a decade. That is, they have been able to achieve things, as we've talked about many times, that they never have in the history of the program over the last decade. That is certainly going to be difficult to maintain given every player that they lost, a new coach. They've now got a new AD. My buddy Jamie Pollard, who I worked with at Maryland, announced his retirement here over the weekend. So this will be his final year. There's a lot of change going on at Iowa State, and football is bearing the brunt of that right now.
And again,
never mind Utah with a new head coach.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much change. And if you look at, last year at this point in time, we're talking about all the returning quarterbacks throughout the league. Now you look around the league this year and the turnover at the quarterback position. Now there are a few very notable returnees, but the Rocco Becks of the world have transferred. You just look up and down, some of the prominent quarterbacks from last year have all moved on to new homes.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you. We went this time last year. We sat here and talked about that, how great the quarterback room depth was, and you're right, that has certainly changed over along with coaches. So I share the texter's view there. I have a belief that the projections or the early projections are a tad pessimistic, shall we say?
Yeah.
All right, break to take. When we come back, Tony joins us. We'll talk a little bit about basketball. Game time has been announced. West Virginia and Auburn in Vegas to tip off the Players Era event out there. I know you're not going to like it, but we'll talk about it next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. Your tax dollars helped expand broadband access across West Virginia, and CityNet makes it real. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. So whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps, and never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will be drying out and feeling the heat in the coming days with widespread shower and thunderstorm potential holding off until the weekend. A much drier week than what we have recently seen over the last 7 days. At least an inch has fallen in most of West Virginia. Any yellow would be 2 inches or more. And the oranges, 3 to locally 5 inches of rain. Worth noting, just Sunday to Monday, we saw some locally heavy rainfall near Summersville, extending from there toward Lewisburg. Charleston measuring 0.14 inches on Sunday. Month to date, close to 2.5 inches so far. Year to date, though, still behind average by over 5 inches, and that deficit will be growing. Any isolated storms from this afternoon fall apart this evening. Then we'll have clearing skies overnight, staying clear Tuesday, and as mentioned, more widespread dry conditions on the horizon. FlyStar forecast starts at home. Atlanta, a cooler and wetter start to the week, then trending warmer as rain chances gradually thin out. DC, 100 Wednesday. New York, a heat advisory in effect with some 90s and sunshine. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast. Fog is possible overnight in some areas like Moundsville. Low there of 68, then a high of 93 and sunny for Tuesday. Morgantown, 90. Looking east for some low to mid-60s with clear skies. Then additional 90s. Martinsburg, 93. Moorfield, 93. Davis, 82. We'll see Elkins drop near 60 overnight. Then a high of 80 as a cooler spot in Snowshoe. But low 90s, abounding, pretty common. Parkersburg, Ripley, looking toward Clarksburg for that as well. Mid-60s for Charleston with 57 and fog toward Lewisburg, 84 there Tuesday, but 90 in Charleston. More 90s and sun on the horizon, then rain chances over the weekend.
Welcome back in. CityNet Statewide Sportsline continues. Brad and Greg with you. We're live in our Health Plan studios. Since 1979, the Health Plan is called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years, the Health Plan. Your text coming up next, 304-8255304. We'll get into those. But first, pleased to be joined by Tony Caridi. TC, good evening. Welcome in.
Good evening to you, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Oh, look, there we are. There we got you. Nice in your studio there. Hello.
Nice to have you.
Everything good in your world?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Like you guys were just saying, like it's time to go. Obviously, media day last week. We get a couple of weeks here, and it's simply amazing how fast it comes. But looking forward to getting it underway. A lot to talk about, a lot of different angles. I know you guys are already theorizing, as everyone does this time of year, what's happening. While I was waiting to come on here, I was just looking. So, right, you can do any kind of stat you want. So Rich Rodriguez has been the head coach at, as far as Power Fours go, right? West Virginia, Michigan, Arizona. And then he went to Jacksonville State. So what is the average number of wins that he has in his second season at those stops?
7.
Better.
Oh.
Okay, so we're going to do public math. So he won 9 his second year at West Virginia. He won 5 his second year at Michigan. That's 14. He won 8 his second year at Arizona. That's 22. And then in his second year at Jack State, he won 9, which is 31. So that's 1,
So
2,
almost 8.
3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 31 divided by 4.
Yeah, just under 8 per win. Or per season.
So there you go, Hunter. You can just forget about everything else and just mark it down.
Put Tony and I down
Just
for
go.
8, Coach Hunter. Put us on the prediction show for 8. We already got it. There's the math.
Just go. Well, I mean, if they equal that number this year, I think a lot of people will be pleased.
That's I listen. Again, not prediction show here. I don't know that that's out of the realm of possibility. I think that's a big jump. I get it. And Tony, we've done that before on past shows, the jump from one season to the next. And I know this time of year we always think it's going to be more, and it turns out if you can make a 3-game improvement from one year to the next, that's a massive leap. I get it. But I do think there's some factors talent-wise and schedule-wise that help this West Virginia team. And I know I think you guys share the thoughts. A lot of that's going to hinge on that Virginia game. How that starts out. If you start this season 3-0 and Virginia's one of those wins, now I think you're starting to talk in that 7 to 8 range. Absolutely becomes live. Agree or disagree?
Oh, I totally agree with you. Again, we won't belabor this, but just the biggest jump he ever had in a second season was in his second season at West Virginia when he went from 3 to 9. And then Michigan, he went from 3 to 5 in the second year. At Arizona, he was equal. 8 in his first year, 8 in his second year. And at Jack State, he did the same thing again. He won 9 his first year and 9 his second year. So, yeah, I agree with you for those reasons, right? The schedule is more conducive, as you just touched upon. There's been some massive change in this league. 2 of the teams that West Virginia has on board, Iowa State and Oklahoma State, they're going through coaching changes, right? And we've experienced that in different sports, and you just know that the first year is extremely difficult, so you need to take advantage of those guys. And you also, right, as you often say, and it's so correct, Brad, and that is, you are allowed to improve. And so the question becomes the development aspect of those that are returning or those that did join the program in January. How much better can you become before you play another game? Even if you got here in January, it's 9 months, and you can get a lot better in 9 months. So all of those factors will go into, ultimately how good this team is.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's shift our focus for a minute into basketball. News coming out today of West Virginia's tip time in its first game in Las Vegas in November in the Players era. And I said, Tony, coming on, I'm sorry to the fans, they're not going to love this one. It's a midnight Eastern tip, 9 locally in Vegas, but a midnight tip time for West Virginia and Auburn.
I think there's going to be some 9 and 10 and 11-year-olds that we literally put to sleep. They're going to go to bed, maybe have the radio on, and the next thing they know, it's going to be tomorrow morning. Yeah, as you guys know, when you play 4 games in a day and then you're out in the West Coast to begin with, it's just someone's going to get the short end in regard to a really good time. And, I'd love playing the early games in those events, but body clock wise, man, that'll be midnight, our body clock. And, you just go out there and you play. It's going to be a really good game against Auburn, but unfortunately, that's just the way that it is.
Here's some other times on that day, just to run down that full day. As you mentioned, Tuesday, November 17th, there's 4 games that day. Houston and Rutgers start things off at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That's followed by Florida and Notre Dame around 4:30 Eastern Time. Then the nightcap, the evening sessions, Kansas and UNLV at 9:30 Eastern. And then, of course, West Virginia and Auburn follow that. The second game of the day or of the tournament for West Virginia depends on whether you win or lose that first one. We'll get into that as we get closer. But the news of the day, midnight Eastern tip for the first one.
Yeah, and you know what's something else you have to remember about this is that this is not a holiday week that you're playing. This is the week before Thanksgiving. I mean, we're just talking about a Tuesday in the middle of November at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be Houston and Rutgers. I mean, that's how crazy this thing has become. And then you've got a 4:30 game, which is like a big boy game, right? Florida, Notre Dame at 4:30 in the afternoon on a random Tuesday, and it's not Thanksgiving week. So it is what it is. And I do think, this Players Era, right? There's the Players Era 8. That's what West Virginia is in. That's the week before Thanksgiving. 8 teams, 3 of which are from the Big 12. And then the next week, which is actually Thanksgiving, it's the Players Era 16. 16 more schools go and play. So all total, 24. And again, if you're following this closely, this is the first of 2 straight years that West Virginia will be playing in this event because they finished again in the top 8 in the league this past year. This is the Darren DeVries season. That's why you're playing in Vegas this year. Last year's Ross Hodges team that ended its season in Vegas, because they finished, that's 27 season, you'll be going back out there.
It's a really interesting point, and we'll have to see what this does schedule-wise, because we know that what Thanksgiving week has become, both in college football and basketball,
Sure.
It's taken over the week, and there's games throughout the entire week, up and down, and now college basketball pushing it even further. And this event, man, we've said it many times. It's a premier event. They've put some money behind this. There's some prestige behind it, and the field is certainly packed. Now we'll just see if, Tony, to your point, you're playing on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it's not just that Tuesday that there's a 2 o'clock and a 4 o'clock game. You come back Wednesday, Thursday with similar times as well.
This is a body challenge. It really, truly is, because you go, as you said, now you're going to play midnight Eastern time. And so if I'm looking at this thing right, you would play at 10 o'clock. If you lose, you would play at 7:30 the next night. If you win, that would be semifinal 2.
I think that's correct.
That's correct. So you think about that, like it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get 12, all you're going to get is 17 hours off. If you win, you get 17 hours off. So it's going to be a challenge physically in an early part of the season. Some of your younger guys are going to have to play more minutes.
And Tony, I mean, just because the way this tournament is organized, we know the Big 12 has a lot to do with this. 8-team total in this entire field, and you said 3 in West Virginia's part of the bracket, but they can play Kansas the next night, and it's just the way it goes. But playing a league opponent in one of these early season tournaments is obviously very unusual.
It is, and you're not going to run away from your Big 12 brethren, because if folks remember last year, I think it was, the league signed a deal long-term with Players Era to supply 8 schools each year. And so you're going to have 8. And so whether you're in the Players Era 8 or the 16, there's a very good chance you're going to play a non-conference game against one of your conference teams. And obviously, this West Virginia schedule, guys, we've talked about it. I mean, it is, in a word, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge. The addition of Virginia Tech, you're already going to go play Wake Forest. Then you've got the North Carolina game, which looks as though that will become final on Black Friday. And there's there's still a few other, Pitt, right? You throw Pitt in there. There's still a few other, like every day you hear a little, hey, there's someone's talking about, hey, there might be an opportunity for this. So it's July 13th. It's still not done. I mean, there still might be another one that makes you go like, seriously? So it's going to be really, really hard.
And you mentioned there North Carolina. We have got a couple texts from people. I know there was a writer in Kentucky that put out a tweet this weekend about West Virginia and Kentucky meeting up on Black Friday. It seems that might be a little premature on the discussion there, so just hang on that news right now.
Yeah, from what I understand on that one, obviously West Virginia and North Carolina are deep into conversation, and I think this thing, I's dotted, T's crossed, probably going to happen. I think someone promotion-wise came along and offered, tried to broker a deal. Maybe someone dropped out of a game that they were trying to broker, and so they got into the party late. But from what I'm told, it looks as though it will stay with North Carolina.
Well, given what you just said there, what this schedule looks like, I certainly hope the net, we don't know that nebulous net formula, not sure what's in it. Strength of schedule, I hope, is heavily weighted because West Virginia is playing about as tough a schedule as I can remember, Tony. This is a very, very challenging non-conference, just what we know at this point.
Yeah, it is. You'll know a ton about your team before you even play your first league game in January, and that's fine. As we've seen, guys, you don't want to talk about this, but you play a really super hard non-conference schedule, and again, don't want to get into it, but you can have a losing league record and still get into the NCAA tournament because, again, this league is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, it does reward teams that play well. Hey, one thing here before we let you go, I was watching Summer League earlier, and now I'm back fully engaged in Summer League now, Tony, because we're
I was watching last night.
So earlier today, speaking of Vegas, Abuka Akori was playing for Detroit today, and he came in and he was doing some of the things we saw him do in Vegas, had some great hesitation moves and finished through contact, and he was having a little run there for the Pistons against the Knicks that was going really well for Akori. And you know what the Knicks did, Coach Hunter? You know how they ended the run by Akori?
How?
They brought Toby Oconee off the bench and said, here's what we're going to do, young fella. We're going to put a 6'8 dude on you, lock you up on the perimeter, and Akori tried to take Toby down low. Didn't go so well for Akori, resulted in a turnover, and it got me thinking, and the Knicks ended up winning the game. Toby played well, had a good plus-minus today. It's what we saw with Toby Oconee here, that his path to that league, as it worked last year, he got himself in from the G League into the NBA. It's that defensive stopper. When he wants to sit down and guard you, man, you can do it against a 6-foot point guard or a 6'10 guy inside. And I thought Toby, at least on that one possession, really opened some eyes because he locked him up.
And I think, and we've been watching practice here now, I think we've got another large body guard that can do that against guards like that. I'm talking about Traore, who came over from Utah, right? And they used him against Donner Huff when West Virginia played him this season, and he did a really good job against Honor. And watching him play right now with West Virginia, he is just a nice, athletic, long, tough guy that I think fans are going to like the way that he can guard.
Know your role, right? I mean, Toby did. I mean, he wasn't offensively elite, but knew his role and was really effective.
If you talk to coaches, they'll tell you this, and I heard an interview from an NBA general manager here in the last day or so on the Summer League, and he said it. He said, listen, we've got the guys in the league that are going to score 20 a game. We already got them. We don't need you to come in the league and do that. You got to come in and pick your spots. Is that rebounding? Is it distributing the ball? Is it guarding and playing defense? You got to find your niche and do it well, and Toby's got a shot to do that with the Knicks. Trey Eaglestaff also on that Knicks team. He did not get in today, but Toby did. We've got some more action coming up on Summer League. We'll get into that after the next break. But anything else we needed to ask you that we didn't before we let you run?
One thing that I saw of note was last week at the Big 12 Media Day when they announced the Monster Energy patch deal that each school will wear the Monster Energy patch. So I think there may be a little bit of confusion on that because there were some that are saying that the money wasn't enough for to get that. One thing you got to keep in mind, whether the money is enough or not, that is separate from what a school can put onto their jersey. So it's just not that Monster Energy, which is going to go on the jersey. Schools also have the other space that's been granted by the NCAA that they literally go out and sell. So it is anticipated that West Virginia will have a, sponsor on all of its jerseys this coming season. So the Monster Energy Big 12 deal, which is going to remove the Big 12 logo and it's going to be Monster Energy instead. That is, I don't want to say free money, but that is additional monies that you're going to make outside of what you can make on your own thing. And I think that there might have been some thought that if that's all you can make is the Big 12 Monster Energy deal, that's not enough, and that's probably right. But you've got a whole nother patch that the school is going to sell and pretty much has sold. That is a larger sum of dollars.
It's a stunner that some on social media jumped to a wrong conclusion and had something in it. That's a stunner, but you're right. That's in essence found money for each school in the league, and there's still the opportunity to get an individual deal as well. All right, we'll let you run. Thanks for the update. Good to hear from you. We'll catch up again here soon.
All right, don't forget, we got Mike Florio tomorrow, 3 guys before the game, right?
That's right. We just got done promoting Ben Cutter from last week. Yeah, Mike Florio tomorrow. Are we releasing that tomorrow or out Wednesday somewhere next day or so?
Yeah, tomorrow or either or. It doesn't matter, but maybe Wednesday we'll put it out there, but we're going to record with Mike tomorrow. And as you guys know, we'll talk football, but he goes in a bunch of different directions. By now, since we haven't talked to him in a year, last we knew he had like several of his books becoming movies. Now I can't wait to hear what it's going to be.
Always,
right? It's going to be
always entertaining when Florio joins us, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, fellas, thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks for joining. There he is, Tony Caridi, checking in from across town. Break to take. When we come back, couple of your text. We'll get to it next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
On the next State of Minds.
We cook West Virginian food is how we like to phrase it.
I knew that every time I would hear a story, and I would hear the same story, but it never got old, about what this meant to the family and how it was served and how special it was to be put on the table.
I love the state of West Virginia. I've met some of my best friends. I'm excited to be back. I still have my pickup truck. I still have 4-wheel drive. One of the ladies asked me in the forum if I know how to drive in the snow. I told her, oh yeah, I spent 5 years in Elkins.
See, that's one of those things. Now that you're coming to Fairmont, you've handled the Elkins winter.
Yeah, if you can handle Randolph County.
You're moving. This is basically coming back to Florida here when you get to Fairmont. This is easy.
It's going to be a breeze.
Sportsline on MetroNews Television.
Download MetroNews.
Welcome back in. Final few minutes, sitting at Statewide Sportsline Monday edition. Greg, one last Summer League note. Memphis coming up here in just a few minutes. 7 p.m. Eastern tip against Dallas. It's on ESPN, big ESPN, so you can get a look at Javon Small, who's been starting for the Grizzlies Summer League team. They played in Salt Lake City first, got a couple games in there, and then they have one game under their belt in Vegas, and Javon was good. Had 15 in the opener, 3 assists, no turnovers, team high, 2 steals. So Memphis scheduled to play tonight. Hopefully Javon will be in the lineup for that one. You know how that team sometimes mixes in lineups,
Sure.
gives guys rest there, but hopefully Javon, since it's only game 2, will be in the starting lineup for Memphis. The Grizzlies also play tomorrow at 7 p.m. against Golden State. That is on ESPN as well, so a good chance to watch that. Former Mountaineer Jesse Edwards and the Bucks play Phoenix tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to catch a couple Mountaineers, former Mountaineers there in action coming up here in just a bit. Texter says, ugh, I hope the Monster Energy Big 12 logo isn't as tacky as the cutouts behind the coaches at media days. Those look like first-grade art projects. Not happy. Texter here says that that he's a night owl, so he doesn't mind the 12 Eastern, midnight Eastern tips. It ties in well with Monster Energy coming on board as a sponsor.
You know what?
You'll be on that West Virginia jersey out there in Vegas. Just go have a little Monster if you don't like coffee.
You and Tony could be the ones in big trouble. That will not be your body clock. And let's face it, how many tournaments run on time? So
they did at least give you the extra half-hour window. So we've gotten a little bit smarter about that. But you're right. Normally they don't. So 12 o'clock Eastern may be generous, is what you're saying, or optimistic, so to speak. Well, that could be. That could be. I hope it goes okay. All right. I think that's all. I think we've done all the damage for tonight that we can do. We got a fun one coming up for you tomorrow night. I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that, just to make sure we get it to everything's scheduled. But a fun show coming up tomorrow night with some information that you haven't heard. There's been a lot of talk, but you haven't gone deep. We're going to go deep tomorrow. It has to do with West Virginia baseball. I'll leave it at that until we get everything scheduled, but encourage you to join us coming up tomorrow. If you missed any part of tonight's show, remember it's always available in podcast form. Just search out Sportsline and you'll find it right there, and you can check out the entire show if you missed any part of it. That'll do it for us. For Greg, I'm Brad. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6:06. Enjoy the rest of your night. See you.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.